Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. In this new video series part from Shoeb, we are getting to know our partners a bit better and seeing how they're dealing with the big COVID situation and what they have done and what they expect to see what's coming. So I'm Alex. I'm a Modern Workplace Ambassador at Shoeb. And here today we have Chris from Center Technologies. Tell us a little bit about Center Technologies.
Yeah, we're Center Technologies and IT solution providers. So we work with customers in being their IT department as a whole, or really augmenting their team as part of an extension of their team, providing technology solutions. We're very solution oriented, consulting first versus just traditional hardware software provider.
Okay. And where are you based right now?
I'm based in Houston, Texas. We've got offices all around Houston. So we have physical brick and mortar offices in every city throughout Texas. So Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston being our headquarters.
Okay, so having all these offices all across the state, the crazy few weeks of switching to remote work, has this been a challenge for you, or was it just a flip of the switch?
I think it's a challenge for everybody to go, work from home. So, one of the things that Center's done and has done a really good job is being able to provide enterprise grade technology solutions to our clients. So with those, we always have a mindset of business continuity in mind. So it's not just disaster recovery and how I spin your environment up, but how do we work how do we continue to work in a disaster environment? And I think anybody would classify today as disaster time.
Yes, yes.
So so along with that, we've always pushed over the past 4 or 5 years, really pushed clients towards hybrid cloud solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, we had an easier time for them to be able to go work from home. But essentially, what's happened is we went from supporting 450 companies with 450 offices to 50,000 offices. So, the amount of time it takes on discovery, we're having to learn, people's houses and how good is their Wi-Fi signal when they're working in their office and things like that. So our workload is actually tripled from a ticket count when everybody went to a work from home. Our workload, our tickets, the amount of tickets being submitted has actually tripled over that time.
Was it just with the initial rush, or is it still keeping that volume?
Yeah, so the way that I look at things and how they're working right now is it was the initial rush. So
Mm-hmm.
for about 3 weeks, we've been able to work out all the kinks. We've been able to get everybody up and working. And one of the things that I talk about a lot, even with our own team, is that technology is holding up right now. It's being a geek. All we've done is from a geeky standpoint is stress technology to the highest level that we can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right now I'm seeing technology stress to the highest level, and we're holding up very, very well. So we've stabilized a bit right now, and the way that I look at it is it's almost like a hurricane coming, right? You've got that big storm to be able to get ready. And once the hurricane comes over, you got that eye and it's all, it calms down. But everybody is preparing to go back to work, so we're anticipating another surge with people going back into the office, and we're preparing for it to make sure that we can support our customers
Mm-hmm.
and as much as possible help them be efficient, right? Help them not have to deal with IT issues, the ability to be able to get onto them fast and resolve the issues so that they can get back working and producing for the organization they work for.
Okay, so initially when you did the first flip for just your internal workers, you were already somewhat set up, your employees were all trained, so that wasn't that major of a challenge, but it was really the customers that you had that were they reaching out to you, or did you put out like a blast at first? Was it trying to be proactive?
All the above.
All of
All the
you?
above.
Okay.
So from a center perspective, we've always been set up with a disaster, a business continuity plan.
Hmm.
And so what we did is, even though we're considered an essential business, the worst thing that could have happened to us in our knocks, and we have knocks in every single one of the cities that we support our customers. The worst thing that could happen is somebody gets sick and is spreading it in the knock, and now we're no longer able to support all of our customers.
Hmm.
So we started when the COVID situation first started coming out, and we started anticipating that this could get bad. We started rolling people to work from home. And actually, what we've
Okay.
seen is we've seen our production go up, and we're utilizing the biggest challenge that we have with sending center people from working from home is collaboration tools. It's the ability to be able to spin in your chair and get help by your coworker that's sitting right there next to you. So, we're leveraging Teams more than
Hmm.
we've ever leveraged before. We're leveraging different technologies that we've always deployed in our system. And that's where I say the stress is growing, is because we're leveraging those tools to produce a work from the office atmosphere or environment. And in doing that, we've actually seen our production go up to where we're able to support customers a whole lot better.
And do you find that from some of these production gains from, working from home, leveraging these tools more internally, have they translated into being able to talk to your customers even more, expertly, if you will, about those tools and how they can help working from home and being deployed in this current situation?
Absolutely, and we're pushing it to them more. We're pushing, different trainings on them ability, on them leveraging existing technologies that they have in the business. We've been pushing Office 365, Microsoft 365 for a long time. We've been pushing Teams, but they've never they may have got onto the chat functionality of Teams, but they never really got on board on the calling
Hmm.
inbound video, right? And then how do we tweak different bandwidth settings so that we may not be doing video for everybody, but let's at least do voice. Let's do the whiteboard sharing to where you
Hmm.
guys can start sharing the whiteboard. So we've been reaching out to customers on a very consistent basis, educating them. And the other thing that we've been doing is that when you go from 450 offices to 50,000 offices, you go from a controlled environment to a very uncontrolled,
Hmm.
right? I don't think Center has ever really worked on more Linksys wireless access points than we've had in the past month. But, traditionally, those are not secure,
Right.
right? Along with things like your home printer. So, how many people reset the password of their home printer? Well, if they don't reset the password, you can easily Google, what is the default
Hmm.
password? And that's how these hackers are getting in and then trying to attach the business. So we've been working around the clock on also being very, very proactive. And how do we make sure that we're securing these customers' environments, because we can't take any more load. So
Hmm.
we've got to stay in front of them, and we got to be more proactive than we've ever been to make sure that we're protecting and make sure that the businesses that we support can remain operational.
Okay, so when you're saying like you have to be proactive, does that mean that customers don't have that reflex to understand that, because they're now working from home, they have like an unsecured Wi-Fi, they have unsecured devices, it could bring, a lot more exposure to, attacks and things like that from hackers. How do you broach that subject, the conversation?
Two ways. One of the big ways that we're doing it is through end user education. And we're sending out examples of, different phishing schemes and
Hmm.
trying to use, training curriculum that we have from end user education to be able to send it to them to say, making their awareness more heightened that, hey, don't be clicking on this. And then the other proactive way that we're doing this is through technology solutions. We got to make sure that we're staying up on antivirus. When it comes to, Office 365, we've got to make sure that we're enabling all the security features within it so that we know if somebody from Costa Rica is trying to log into the CEO's email, and we're getting in front of it and responding a lot quicker to
Mm-hmm.
where we shut that down to make sure that these customers remain operational. I mean,
Are you,
again, the worst thing that can happen is piling on, some sort of security breach, or piling on another problem versus what we're already going through. We have to make sure that the businesses are staying focused on operating.
mm-hmm.
And, here on the right hand side, center is protecting them, allowing them to drive towards their goals, allowing them to do what they need to do to keep operations running, and, keep efficiencies within the organization.
Yes, no, and that's a great point because, as this new situation is forcing people to work from home, some bad intended people are using this situation to really drive up the phishing attacks. I think it was your research in the notes that I have that talked about, 8.5 million websites, 10 million emails, and 48,000 viruses and malware. That's a big increase, just since COVID has started. I think I read also an article this morning saying Google is blocking something like 20 million emails a day that are just COVID phishing scams. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what they look for is they look for, one of the biggest challenges that we faced into this is our businesses, especially from a support standpoint and proactive, the way we set up our services is it's predictable,
Hmm.
right? Every week it's predictable. We're a full 24 by 7 support organization. And we actually, it's not an answering service. We actually have staff that is working 24 by 7, not only the maintenance of systems, but end user support. We've gone to a very unpredictable time right now. So, to give you an example, on Good Friday from Easter was the highest workload that we had that week. So, we had more support calls on that Friday than we had any other day in the week. And what that is we're having to adjust to it's become unpredictable because we're having to adjust to people's schedules.
Hmm.
And, people are waking up in the morning, they're educating their kids because now they've got work from home. So we've got to be
Guilty.
able to support them at different times. And, being transparent, we were caught off a little off guard on the Good Friday. We expected people to take off, but they can't take off.
Hmm.
The culture is, to continue to get after it, make sure that we're remaining productive, and make sure that we're, accomplishing the goals that we have from a business perspective. They're working around the clock right now to be able to do that. So center, thankfully, having our 24 by 7 and it being manned, we've been able to deal with this a lot easier than other smaller providers because we've been able to really stay on top of it. And it's for us, it's taking the unpredictability and it's shifting schedules as much as we can based on being predictive. And then, just the culture within the business that we have going on right now. It's the culture is, how do we help our customers get through this? So we're taking ownership on us. How do we help them to get through this? So when we have a situation like Good Friday pop up, everybody's willing to step up and help because we're all going through this together.
Hmm. Well, speaking of together, I only have a couple more questions. One of them would be, you mentioned a bit earlier how, your employee can't just, turn around and ask for help from the other employee. Have you set up anything to help, I don't want to say team building, but to have that rapport between the techs that are all, isolated at home each, just a little happy hour, anything like that?
Yeah, the happy hours have certainly happened. They've gotten kind of weird from the virtual, but the ability to be able to put put the backgrounds, right? We're geeks. So the
Hmm.
ability to be able to put Joe Tiger as your background on Teams, I think has gotten us all, kind of excited about these virtual happy hours. And then again, we're leveraging technology as much as possible. And then it's the collaboration within the business. So we're going to have, different times during the day that we're going to do a 15-minute standing meeting, which is allowing employees to be able to ask questions on something that
Hmm.
they don't understand, being able to provide them with company updates so that they're constantly communicated with, and then there's no I don't knows. But from the collaboration tools, and we've always used these tools, but again, for us, it's we've got to use them a whole lot more now.
Hmm.
So I don't think there was as much of a learning curve on really having to stand up different collaboration tools. It's just putting things in place that gets constant communication to our employees and for them to feel like they're working here from the office.
Well, that's a great. I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to use that idea, the standing meeting 15 minutes. I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely.
And finally, moving forward, how we're talking a little bit about reopening the country, certain states at different rates. Do you feel that there is any lesson learned or any things any gains that have been made from working remotely that shouldn't go away once we can go back to the office? Have you found like anything from customers saying, oh wow, well, this I'm going to use from now on even when I get to go back to the office?
Well, I think all the technologies that we're deploying to them, they're gonna use it, because not only are they technologies if they're sitting right there, there's also the mobility aspect, right? The ability to be able to put Microsoft Teams on your phone and actually start using it. I think you're gonna see, more. I haven't seen as many conference meetings, people utilizing Teams that I've gotten them from customers, and I'm like, my question to them is, I thought you really didn't even want to use Teams, and they're like, yeah, this is fantastic now. So I think that's gonna happen. And then part of the message that I deliver to Center is you know our name is Center Technologies. I'm a big believer in technology enables you to be able to accomplish your goals. And I'm a big believer that IT is the center of the business, and that it touches every different department within the business. I think businesses going back are obviously going to be, focused on getting operations up and running, but there's going to be a scare that says, hey, if this happens again, I need to
Hmm.
make sure that I'm ready. And not just ready from, how do I work from home, but how do I remain 100%, 110% productive when I'm at home? So they're going to be leveraging tools. There's going to be even a faster shift to the cloud, and really making sure that the environment at the least is set up with a hybrid approach to
Hmm.
where they have cloud functionality and they can continue to operate. Um, and then there's going to be, increased security as well, right? How do we make sure we stay in front of it? IT has become a thankful job in this situation. I've always told people we choose this field and we love this field, but nobody calls us when they're happy. And what I've seen over the past month, I've seen more thank yous than I've ever dealt with in my entire life, and it's rewarding. It's
Wow.
what's driving our team. All these thank yous that are coming back, saying, from different. We send out surveys with each ticket, and the amount of thank yous that's coming back, it motivates you to keep driving even harder. When I said that our workload has tripled, but our production has gone up. Our
Hmm.
production has gone up not because we didn't have the technology. We had the technology. It's the reward we're seeing from the thank yous and the appreciation that we're going to help you no matter what. We're going to help you with your home printer. We're going to make sure that printer is going to work. And when you have an ISP issue at your house, we're going to call that ISP together. I'm not just going to direct you to continue to be frustrated, because we want you to be as productive as you can. But the thank yous that has come with IT has been really rewarding and really motivating.
Oh, well, that's great to hear because I completely agree that for a long time working in IT was kind of like working behind the curtain and a bit almost like the CIA, where when you get things right, no one thanks you because nothing broke and nobody died, but it's when you
Right.
get things wrong. So it's great to see that people are finally seeing that, and that moving forward, the conversations about disaster recovery and business continuity will find a lot less resistance from customers because they'll remember this type of situation, what can happen. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time today. I
Yeah.
think it's
Thank
been
you.
very insightful, and looking forward for a long partnership with you and Center Technologies. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.